Welcome to Superhuman Customs, everybody. I'm your host, Stephen Human, and today we've got Atom Eve. That's gonna change here in just a second. So I got this body, it's a Catwoman body. I got it for $3 from an action figure event that we had recently. And I've got this head from a Tila that I got at the same action figure event. Actually, it was the 1 week before. I am so lucky where I live, guys. At least once a year, twice a year, we'll have action figure events because the collecting community is so awesome. Not to rub it in, but it is great. And so I got this body for $3 and I got the Tila for $5. So we're gonna turn this into Atom Eve. I've done a couple of Invincibles. I figure I love Atom Eve. I love their relationship throughout the comics. And so I wanna have a custom Atom Eve. So that's what we're gonna do today. Let's have some fun. First thing we wanna do with Atom Eve, because she is a lighter character, is that we're gonna prime her up. We're just gonna spray her with some primer and maybe it was coming out. Anyway, I'm gonna prime her up so that when we get to the white and the pink, it's a little bit easier to paint. All right, we're completely changing this up, just as I warned earlier in the video. I haven't been excited about making this Atom Eve. It's been like 2 months since I primed her, and I just haven't been into it. I love Atom Eve, but for some reason this just hasn't done it for me. So we are gonna do Poison Ivy, this version of Poison Ivy. So I'm gonna take, this is from the Kotal Kahn. We used a couple of these strands for the Conan figure. We're gonna cut these up, glue them in place so they can be leaves, because all of this is leaves on her. And so we're gonna do this full body black and green suit for this Poison Ivy. I don't think there's ever been a toy of this version, and I think this is gonna look really great. I mean, her head is super pissed off. I think this is perfect. I'm much more excited about this than I was for Atom Eve. And so you guys know, for any of you who have been watching for a long time, I need to be excited about a figure. And if I'm not, then that figure is just gonna either languish or it's gonna turn out not very good. And I want this to turn out good. So I am very excited now, so let's get this knocked out. So you can see I've cut all of these into little leaf size pieces. We don't need to cover all of her with them, but we do need to make sure that it looks like leaves. I want these to have a three-dimensional texture. And what I'm doing over here off camera is that I'm mixing some resin, and that's what we're gonna use because it's gonna allow, they'll stay on forever. And it's a little bit easier to spread. So I can take this spoon, this is a mix resin, and so I can just kind of lay it around here in places where we're gonna need the leaves, right? And I'm just following that picture of where the leaves were. It kind of went down on her leg over here, and then there was a slash right here. And this won't dry for a few minutes. So that will allow us to kind of get these in place really quick. And obviously I'm avoiding the joints. I don't want her to be, you know, unmovable. This is still a toy. So that is what we're doing. And then I'll lay these out real quick, and then we can kind of check them together, see how they turned out. So I got them all resined in place, and what I did is I took a little bit of blue fabric paint and just added some extra textures, because that'll glue on, or because that'll dry a little bit more 3D. Right now, obviously it looks very weird, but once it's green, it'll look very leafy, and because these feathers have like a leaf texture to them, that's why it was such a great choice for this figure. I also think I'm going to do, she has some in her hair as well, and so I think I'm going to cut some of these and glue them in place, or just take the fabric paint and put them in there. We'll see. We'll kind of figure it out once this is dry, but I think this is going to look the way that we want. It's going to look like she's covered in leaves, and that's what I want. So I've got some dark gray instead of black. I think that's going to look better. And I can darken it up if I need to with a little bit of wash if I feel that it's not dark enough, but just going with black didn't feel quite right. So what I've done, this is acrylic paint, acrylic craft paint, so I watered it down a little bit. And as you can see, I've added, looking at the picture, she had a bunch of vines and stuff, so I added that in with the fabric paint just real quick, and we'll see how those look once they're painted. On the piece of art that I'm using, she has them, and it's very, like, they're just the same green as everything else. So we'll see how it looks. But yeah, I'm gonna go through, do this first, and then we'll go through with the green. The green will make the biggest difference. Like this isn't gonna make a huge difference. It'll make a difference, but the green is what will really make the difference. Because right now, that's obviously what looks really weird. And once it's all green, I think it'll be like, oh wow, that's cool. So that's what we're gonna go for. Now that we got the dark gray and the black, I did use a little bit of wash. Now we're gonna go through with a dark green. And I'm just gonna cover the whole section. We're just gonna try and get this dark green everywhere in here so that everything is covered. And then we will do highlight colors on top of that. But you can see how already it changes the entire feel of the character as this starts to turn green. The strangeness of it starts to go away, starts to look like it's actually leaves and vines and all that sort of stuff, just like it shows in this version of the character. So just going to go through here, make sure we're getting all this in place and that she is looking the way that we want her to look. So I've got her green, and I've still got to do the dry brush and stuff over the top, but it was looking a little bit crazy. Like I wanted it to look kind of jungle, you know, with all the stuff, but it really did just kind of start looking strange. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue, this is lightning, but I'm going to glue it in place and then paint it green as well so that it looks more like a vine. And I think that that will add a little bit more of a naturalness to it. That will make it look a little less just crazy. So I'm going to do that. Yeah, hopefully that'll kind of fix that issue. I think it will, because it looks right now, it looks like it does. Like it'll add a nice vine to her. So yeah, that'll be our next move, and then we'll put some leaves and things in her hair. What I'm going to do before I glue these little pieces in place is I'm going to cut a little bit of her hair, and I'm just going to create a couple of flat spots so that these can glue in. Because the problem is that when you're gluing something like this, you want to have, like I always say, multiple touch points. And so you want to have it be either very flat or have a couple of spots where you can get in there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just lightly cutting in here a nice area where I can glue these in place, or glue one of them in place, and then I'll move around and put another spot in. But that will mean that it has multiple contact points, and it will glue much better and it won't come off. I found that if it's a weak spot, or if there's a lot of curling or something, it'll come off over time. But when I've done this, man, I can't even yank them off. And that's what I want. I want something that's going to stand the test of time. All right, last major thing, we'll do some details on her face, obviously, is we got to get this lighter green on here. I'm just bummed. I wish that I had done all of this stuff in more of a pattern, like had it kind of come out like real leaves, but I was just like, oh, if I did it where it looks like just jungle crazy. But then it just ended up looking a little bit too crazy and not natural enough. And so I don't think she looks bad, but I think she could have looked better if I had done that. Same thing I did last year with Lionel when I did him. And I did the fur kind of like this. And I wish that I had done it a little bit more uniform. I was trying to have them all go up, but I think that if I had done that, it would have just it would have turned out better. I think with her, it would have too, but I was just like, oh, we'll make it look like it's jungle and crazy. So she looks all right. Not as good as she could, but you do what you can with what you got. And when you screw up, you admit it and you move forward. What I'm doing now is I'm just going to do a few little light touches. I've got some green shade here, and I'm going to put some for her eyeshadow, because oftentimes she's shown with green eyeshadow. And I just want it to be nice and light. I don't want it to be too much. So I'm going to put that on there, and then I'm going to take a little bit of the shade, and I'm going to touch up some of the leaves with it. So some of the leaves will look a little different shade of green. See? I don't know if you can see it, but it looks good. Last two things I think I'm going to do on her is I'm going to highlight her hair. Just going to dry brush in some orange to lighten it up. And orange is a very liquidy color, at least the version that I have here, the Vallejo version. And so if you're doing it, you might need to get a little bit more on the brush in order to really get the highlights you want. And then I'm going to add a little bit of red to her lips. I could make her lips green. Sometimes she's shown with green lips, sometimes she's shown with red lips. I think the red is going to create more of a nice contrast that I'm after. And so that's going to, then I think we're going to be done with our Poison Ivy. And there we have Poison Ivy. I'm really glad that I made the switch because, like I said, I just wasn't excited about Adam Eve. And the longer I do this, the more I realize I need to be excited about a figure. Now, this did turn out a little bit wild, honestly. I mean, I wanted it to look like leaves and vines, and it does look like that. It's kind of crazy. If I'd had maybe some thinner plastic, I could have, made it all leaves and put them in so it was very uniform. I didn't really think about that until after I had it painted and was like, oh, it does kind of look kind of crazy. It's got more of like a Groot look of as opposed to like something that's very uniform. You could do it either way. Like obviously the pieces that I used to cut off of that headdress, they looked like leaves because they were feathers, but they were a little bit thicker, and so it was kind of harder to get them all uniform. But if you were to take a really thin piece of plastic, you could carve out little leaves if you were so inclined, and you could cover her completely in just leaves and have it be very uniform with all of them kind of going in the same direction. That is one way to do it. I chose to do it this way. I still think it looks pretty cool. Like she's going to look great on the shelf, even though it does have kind of this wild, untamed look to it. Like it really is a jungle with just all kinds of different stuff. The vines over the top do make it look a little bit better. But anyway, there's a lot of different ways that you could do it. And this is just one of them. So hopefully you guys are learning stuff, or you're at least getting ideas on cool things to do, things that maybe are inspiring you. This was a fun one for me, and I'm very excited to see her on the shelf. I'm Stephen Human. Thank you for watching. As always, if you guys like science fiction thrillers, I am a science fiction novelist, so check out StephenHumanAuthor.com or on Amazon or Audible, everywhere books are sold, and I'll see you guys next time.